Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a great day. I'm here with my Marie's Masters palette and my Baohong block. This is 5x7 cold press, 140 pound. And I wanted to do some autumn pumpkins today. Now I did sketch them in pencil. They're very easy to draw and I'm just going to go over it with my creative marker from Sharpie that I just got and I'm still kind of playing around with. So figured we could do a bit of a line and wash today. So I'm just going to go over my sketch marks with the black marker so that we can get a nice little outline going. And these are just very simple, sketchy little pumpkins. And I've got my little pumpkin stems here. And I'm doing a group of 3. And I'm kind of stacking them in front of each other so you'll be able to see it kind of take shape as I draw. But I've got kind of a big to small pumpkin arrangement going on here. Now I wanted to kind of make them a little bit different. I have a couple that are kind of short and fat. Well, one that's short and fat. This one's sort of taller, and then this one is the big one. And so what I wanted to do was kind of put in like a bit of a background in a wash, maybe wet and wet, and then come back in and work on these pumpkins and fill them in with some nice color. And I'm going to put the little tendrils and leaves and stuff, but I'm not sure yet if I want to do those in watercolor or if I want to do those in pencil or pen. So I'm just going to keep it like this for now, and once this dries I'm going to go in with my watercolor wash. All right, we're all dry, so I am going to start first on the background. And so my pumpkins are going to be mostly red-orange, and I kind of want to use like maybe a blue-green for the background for sort of a complementary color. So I am going to go into my indigo to have kind of a muted blue, and I might add a little bit of Viridian over here mixed with a little bit of alizarin crimson to kind of turn that into a muted green. And I'm going to get plenty of water on my brush because I want this background to be pretty light. And so I'm going to rinse my brush and just drag some of this out. And I might put in some of this blue mixture down here at the bottom where we have our surface. And I'm just going to go around my pumpkins. I'm not going to get them wet. Now I might just add a little color here and there so I can get kind of a fun background. And I might even go into some of this purple red and add that in here too. I think that's kind of a fun color. And again, I'm just going around my pumpkins. You don't have to be too careful with this. I just want to make sure that I'm not getting my pumpkins all wet. And I kind of like that purple mix actually. That's pretty nice. So I might put some down here. And I might darken a bit up, but for right now I'm just going to see how this goes. And grab some more indigo and come in here and get this down. And I'm just sort of having fun making a multi-toned sort of background here. Might add a little bit of that purple in here at the bottom also. And then we'll put some of that green. Now I'm going to rinse my brush and kind of drag some of this out because I want it to be sort of a loose background, and I want to have some bright values also because I don't want it to just be a page filled with different colors. And then where I've got my other edge of paint here, I'm just going to go over that a bit with my brush to soften it, and that way I don't have any hard edges. Now I might get a little bit of cauliflowering because I'm kind of uneven with my painting, but that's okay. I think this will dry pretty nice. So I'm going to let this dry and then get started on my pumpkins. So I still have a bit of dampness on my paper, and I was just thinking it'd be kind of nice to add a little extra texture to my page here. So I grabbed my little spray bottle of alcohol, and I am just going to add a little mist to this. And it's not too wet, but you get a little bit of texture going on here. So I think that'll add just a little something, and I might put it on my pumpkins too once it finishes drying completely. All right, we are all dry, and I have a very light texture here, but we are going to add some more texture to these pumpkins once I get them painted in. So I'm going to start with the front one, and I am just going to put in a few little brush marks with some water. And I'm going to start with the yellow ochre. And I'm going to start dropping that in here, just like that. And what I might do is go sort of every other one and add some of that yellow. And I'm going to be dropping in a few colors here because I want to do a combination of yellow and red and orange, just so we can get some nice variation in the color here. So I'm going to go next into the Cad Red, and I'm going to drop a little bit of that in here, just in some random spots, and maybe a little bit into this alizarin crimson. And I'm going to have this sort of at the bottom here. Just like that. And that can almost be sort of a shadow. Now I'm going to start working on this outer edge here. Grab some more yellow ochre. And I'm going to drop some alizarin crimson right at the bottom of this pumpkin. And we'll see, I might actually do a little bit of wet over dry on this bigger one and see how that kind of works here. Grab some of this yellow. I kind of like dropping in the color. I like how it spreads a little bit better, so I'm going to do that instead. And I'm trying to keep a little bit of my brighter colors toward the top, and then as it comes down, that alizarin crimson can be used almost like a shadowy color. So I'm going to come back in, drop a little bit of color in these little back areas. I'm going to pick up excess water just to make sure it's not too wet. And I'm going to add some crimson right down here. And I'm just going back and forth between my colors here so that we have some nice blending effects. And as it dries, it's going to just add something kind of special. Now, if you have excess paint, you can just blot your brush and mop it up. I've got a little excess yellow ochre on my black mark for my marker, and I wanted to blot that up a little bit because I like that line and wash look, and yellow ochre is kind of a opaque watercolor. So I'm going to continue here and start filling in some of these other shapes. And I'm going to get a little bit of bleed now, but that's just fine because I'm going to be using the same colors to drop in here. So I'm going to start here with the alizarin crimson, add a little of this yellow ochre, and a little bit of the Cad Red. And I love these multicolored pumpkins here. They're really cute. If you get too much water in, just blot it. I'm just sort of going back and forth between adding water and blotting it back and then adding color. I'm going to do these last two at the same time. Add some crimson right in here to the bottom, just a little of that yellow, and then finish it off with some cad red. And these are really cute pumpkins. Okay, I'm going to do my little stems now. I'm going to grab some burnt sienna and I'm going to mix it in with some of this Viridian mixture I have, and it's going to make kind of a nice dark green color, like a greenish brown. And I'm going to fill in these little stems, and I'm going to drop in a little bit of a dark color too, I think. Maybe some of this Payne's Gray or Indigo mixture I had from earlier. I'm just going to add some shadows to the bottom so that the base of each stem is a little bit darker. Now I'm going to add some shadows under my pumpkins. So I'm just going to mix what I've got left over in my palette here and add just a little bit of a dark value here. And I don't mind if a little bit of my pumpkin color bleeds out. That's no big deal. And it's just going to add another layer of value. And I might even go into some more indigo and really drop it into some of these wet areas. Now, if you have any coming into your pumpkin, just blot it back. I've got a paper towel to the side, and I'm just using it to collect any leftover water. Next, I'm going to go into some Viridian, and I'm going to work with my small round. This is my number 3, and I've got a pretty good brush load of paint here. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to wait for this to dry because I don't want it to bleed. So I will be right back. All right, now that my pumpkins are dry, I'm going to go into this Viridian and I'm going to do the finishing touches on my little leaves. So I'm going to do a few of those little curly things. I can't remember what they're called. If you remember, leave it in the comment below. And I'm going to do a couple of leaves too. Let me just get a little more water. And I think that looks pretty good. These are really fun to do. Why not have a really long one? What the heck, right? And then lastly, I'm going to put a little bit of this dark green on my stem. I think that will look pretty good. And I was sort of thinking about using some of this gold, and I think I will. So I'm just going to get this a little bit activated with some water and kind of work it up a little bit. And you know what? Maybe I put some gold on my pumpkins. That might be kind of cool. Let's see. I think I like that on the pumpkins. And it gives the pumpkin a little bit of texture also, with some extra lines. Adding just a little bit to the leaf. And I'm going to rinse my brush well, and I think I'm going to clear out my gold because I got a little bit of green in here. And I'm going to add just a few little splashes of gold here. And then I think we can call this done. So let me give you a close-up. And you can see that sparkle from the gold there and a little bit of that wet green paint. But this came out really cute and it was pretty fun to do. So I hope you enjoyed following along with me on this video. Hopefully you try something like this yourself. It was very fun, and pumpkins are pretty easy to draw, and you don't have to use the black line or anything. I just wanted to for this video. But anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep creating.